Exam Expert Series, Hkdse English Language Paper 3. Instructions. You should have on your desk a Part A question-answer book, a Part B1 data file with a Part B1 question-answer book inserted, and a Part B2 data file with a Part B2 question-answer book inserted. Do not open them until you are told to do so. I repeat, do not open them until you are told to do so. Write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of the Part A question-answer book. Look at your Part A question-answer book. Check that it does not have any missing pages. Look for the words "End of Part A" on the last page. Stick the barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1 and 3. Close it when you have finished. Look at your Part B1 data file. Take out the inserted question-answer book. Check that the data file does not have any missing pages. Look for the words "This is the last page of the Part B1 data file" on the last page. Look at your Part B1 question-answer book. Check that it does not have any missing pages. Look for the words "End of Part B1" on the last page. Now stick your barcode in the space provided on page 1. Close the question-answer book when you have finished. Look at your Part B2 data file. Take out the inserted question-answer book. Check that the data file does not have any missing pages. Look for the words "This is the last page of the Part B2 data file" on the last page. Look at your Part B2 question-answer book. Check that it does not have any missing pages. Look for the words "End of Part B2" on the last page. Now, stick your barcode in the space provided on pages 1 and 3. Close the question-answer book when you have finished. All listening materials will be played once only. The paper is divided into 2 parts, Part A and Part B. You should use a pencil for Part A. For Part B, you can use a pen or a pencil. Raise your hand now if you are facing any difficulties. After the test has started, no complaints will be handled. The test is about to begin. Keep the earphones on until you are instructed to take them off. Part A. Situation. You are Peter, a publishing agent. Many writers submit their works to you. Your job is to tell who will have the potential to be a best-selling writer. You are going to listen to 4 recordings of the conversations between you and the writers. In Part A, you will have a total of 4 tasks to do. Follow the instructions in the question-answer book and the recording to complete them. All information will be provided in the question-answer book and the recording. You now have 2 minutes to familiarise yourself with tasks 1 to 4. Task 1 is about to begin. Task 1. You find an amateur writer from a forum and think that she has potential. You are discussing whether it is possible to let you be her manager. Listen to the conversation and fill in the missing information in the spaces provided in the note sheet. One has been done for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task, and you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers at the end of the task.
My name is Peter. I am a publishing agent. I've read your stories on a writer forum and think that you really have the potential to be a successful writer. I want to know if you already have a manager to represent you.
Why should I have a manager?
Nowadays, publishing houses don't accept submissions from individuals. They only read manuscripts that have already been screened by professional agents like me. So if you want to be a writer, you need someone like me.
OK. Let's discuss whether it's possible to work together. But I first need to tell you that I'm only good at writing romantic stories.
As long as you're really good at one genre, that wouldn't be a problem. And romantic stories won't have any difficulties finding readers.
And I'm weak in detective stories and ghost stories. I don't even like reading them.
I understand. It's very good that you know your own weakness. By the way, may I know your real name?
My name is Natalie Wong. I have a request. Don't tell anybody my real name. You need to promise me this, or else there's no way we can cooperate, because I have a day job and my employer doesn't allow us to do any part-time jobs.
It won't be a problem at all. And would you mind telling me about your current day job?
I'm a kindergarten teacher.
OK, let's talk business now. Our cooperation is very simple. We don't need to make any commitment to each other at this moment. I mean, we don't need to sign any contract.
That sounds fair.
But I have some requests. First, no publishing houses, especially the big ones, want anything that have already been published, in physical form as a book, or digital form as an e-book. So I want you to write a news story that has never been published before.
I can do that. Don't worry. Just give me a year.
You don't need to write the whole story. Just write the first chapter within this month. Usually, after reading the first chapter, I can tell whether a book has potential or not.
OK. It'll save me a lot of time working this way.
Also, I want you to discuss story ideas with the manager. In this case, your manager is me.
This one is difficult. I always want to create on my own. But I'll think about it.
And finally, although we haven't signed anything, please don't communicate with other agents or publishers.
I'm a very reasonable person and fully understand why you ask me not to contact them. But I also have my requests.
I'm all ears.
First, I hate deadlines. So don't set deadlines. You simply can't rush art. Well, I consider writing as an art.
I think the same. I consider myself as an art dealer. Anything else?
About the royalty. It should be 10% of the retail price.
I can't promise you the royalty rate. Different publishers have different rates. But 10% is very close to the industrial standard. So I think that shouldn't be any problem.
And I want my books published. You need to publish at least one book in the coming year.
It depends on the quality of your works.
And finally, if my book is published, I want you to give me 10 free copies of the book.
10 free copies? No problem. Normally we give writers 20 free copies.
This is the end of task 1. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 2. One of the books that you manage has become a hit. You are talking with the author about further monetizing the copyrights. Listen to the conversation and fill in the missing information in the spaces provided in the note sheet. One has been done for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task, and you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers at the end of the task.
Congratulations, Jenny. You've made it. Your first 2 novels didn't sell very well. I told you not to give up, and the third one has finally become a big hit.
Thanks for encouraging me to continue my writing career when I was in a slump.
Now, we shouldn't be satisfied with this result. Instead, we must move one step further to make more money.
What do you mean?
There are a lot of ways we can monetize a successful novel, namely foreign language translation, audiobook, movie, and game adaptation, etc. Now, I want to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of all these adaptations.
You mentioned foreign language translation. I'll be very happy if my novel can be translated into many different languages. But I worry that the quality of the translation is difficult to control.
That's exactly the disadvantage of foreign language translation. But despite the disadvantage, I still think it's worth our consideration. First, you can significantly grow your fan base, and I don't even need to tell you the reason. Second, success is almost guaranteed, because readers like buying books that sell well in foreign countries. In other words, it's easy money.
That sounds very attractive. And how about an audiobook? Can it be as profitable as foreign language translation?
We can make some money out of audiobook adaptation, but don't expect too much. The best thing about audiobook is that the adaptation can be very faithful. Also, since the production only involves 1 or 2 readers, it won't take a long time.
Then just get a reader to make an audiobook version. If you can't find any, maybe I can read it myself.
I'm still thinking about adapting your novel into an audiobook. My worry is that piracy will be a problem. People just need to extract the sound files, and your novel in audio format will be everywhere on the internet.
That's a very scary scenario. But I think other forms of adaptation also have potential piracy problems.
You're right, but the advantages of other forms of adaptation outshine this shortcoming. For example, movie adaptation can help promote the sequel of your novel, and if you write the original story for a Hollywood movie, you can establish your status as a Hollywood writer.
That's my dream come true. But I notice that movie adaptation is usually very different from the original story. What do you think?
It's the only disadvantage of movie adaptation. Unfortunately, it's inevitable, considering that we're talking about adapting a 400-page novel into a 2-hour movie.
This explanation is very reasonable. I can understand why movie adaptation can seldom be faithful. So how about game adaptation? I don't really play games, so I don't know much about them.
Game adaptation should be subdivided into 2 categories, namely console games and smartphone games. Consoles are devices that are specially made for playing games, like the PlayStation and Xbox. The good point of console game adaptation is that the players can be more involved in the story, but the results are very unpredictable. Sometimes, even good games that are critically acclaimed can fail. Also, the production is very complicated. It may take more than a year to finish a game.
How about smartphone game adaptation? What are the advantages and disadvantages?
The only disadvantage is that the unit price of the game is very low. We're talking about 99 cents per download.
But obviously, its advantages are that smartphone games are very popular and demand only low budget.
Exactly.
This is the end of task 2. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 3. You have submitted 3 books to a publishing house and are now talking with the editor. Listen to the conversation and fill in the missing information in the spaces provided in the note sheet. One has been done for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task, and you will have 1.5 minutes to tidy up your answers at the end of the task.
Jessica, I sent you 3 new manuscripts last month. What do you think about them?
All of them are very good, but as always, some are better than others.
That's why I'm here to discuss with you which one is good and which one is not. I personally think that Scotland Yard is a very good detective story. It may not be perfect, but I'm quite sure it can sell well in the market.
Frankly speaking, I'm quite surprised to find that there's a lot of grammatical mistakes in the book. And the hero is simply not charming enough. Maybe the writer wants us to focus on the bad guys. Also, the ending is very predictable. The good guy wins and the bad guy loses. However, I agree with you that it may sell well in the market because the story is very intriguing. Yes, the ending is disappointing, but I couldn't put down the script when I was reading it, so I think I'll give it a try.
Then how about Sunset of Summer? I think it's a very original story. I've never read something like this before. Maybe we're talking about a whole new genre.
You're right. In general, it's a very good read, and the concept is indeed very original. But the problem is that there are a lot of difficult words in the story. Some of them can't even be found in the dictionaries. We need to bear in mind that most of our readers are teenagers. I seriously doubt if they can understand the meanings of those words. So this time I won't approve this manuscript. Amateur writers always think that writers need to impress the readers, which is one of the 2 major misunderstandings made by them, but in fact their job is to entertain the readers.
You said one of the 2. So what's the other one?
They think that good stories need to be long, but in fact many people are scared by the sheer thickness of some books.
OK, let's discuss the final manuscript. The Undercover. What do you think about it?
The Undercover? What should I say? I think I'm a little bit confused here. This manuscript is certainly a masterpiece. It has the most important elements of a good mafia novel, namely, information from the insiders and a very hopeless situation the protagonist is facing.
Then what are you waiting for? Publish it now.
I can't make the decision now. Of course, there's no way I'll reject such a good manuscript, but the problem is that it's too good to be written by a new writer. To avoid copyright lawsuits, it's very important for us to check whether this manuscript is an original work. Please give me some time.
You need to hurry. He may have submitted the manuscript to other publishing houses. I don't want to lose a talented writer.
This is the end of task 3. You now have 1.5 minutes to tidy up your answers. Task 4. Jackie, who has once been a prolific writer, is in a slump and cannot write anything. Your job is to encourage him and make him a best-selling writer again. Complete the information in the spaces provided when you are listening. You can write at most 3 words for each blank. You now have 1 minute to study the task, and you will have 2 minutes to tidy up your answers at the end of the task.
Jackie, I know that you're facing the writer's block. Many of my writers have faced the same problem in their writing career. It's very common. There's no need to be scared.
Thanks for your advice, but my situation is a little different. I had an affair, and my wife has divorced me after knowing about it. I know I can't blame her for that. I'm the one who has done things wrong.
Jackie, what's happened has happened. Forget about that and focus on the present instead.
It's not just about my wife, well, ex-wife. The movie adaptation of my latest book has failed. People don't like it, which means they don't like me.
You shouldn't have expected too much from movie adaptation. Remember, for every 10 movie adaptations out there, on average, 7 of them are unsuccessful.
Really? I didn't know that. Then maybe my story is not that bad.
Of course it's not bad. It has sold over 200,000 copies.
Then why do some people send me hate mails?
Jackie, many people like you. It's a fact. But remember, you simply can't make everybody like you. There'll always be people who hate you for no reasons.
Okay, I understand that. But my main problem is that I think it's boring to write, and there's no reason to continue writing.
The best way to overcome the notorious writer's block is to see something new and meet people you haven't seen before. Life is just like a novel. If you read an interesting chapter again and again, one day you'll feel bored. You need to move on to the next chapters.
Do you have any suggestions for me? What should I write now?
Many people are struggling in similar situations. Write a book for them. That's my suggestion.
Okay, I'll try that. But to be honest, some people have given me suggestions that are completely different from yours. I really don't know what to do now. This is the end of Task 4. You now have 2 minutes to tidy up your answers. Part B. Situation. You are Jack Wong, a junior government official responsible for getting foreign investment for Hong Kong. Your department has hired a private consultant to do a research, and your boss wants you to do some tasks to make good use of the information gathered from the research. You will listen to the recording of a conversation between you and the consultant. Before the recording is played, you will be given 5 minutes to study the question-answer books and data files for Part B1 and Part B2. Remember, you must choose to do either Part B1 or B2. Do not attempt both parts. Finish the tasks by following the instructions in the question-answer book chosen and on the recording. When you are listening, you can make notes on page 3 of the data file. You will be given 5 minutes to familiarise yourself with the Part B question-answer books and data files.
Helena, thanks for doing the research for us. Please tell me your findings.
The research is about how to attract more foreign investment to come to Hong Kong. Generally speaking, our findings are very positive. Hong Kong has most of the things that foreign investors are looking for.
Could you tell me the details?
When foreign investors are looking for a place to invest their money, usually they want a place that has an established legal system.
The reason is very simple. They want their money protected. I can understand that.
Also, they want low tax rates. It may not be politically correct to say this to a government official, but taxes eat away profits.
Well, don't worry. I don't work for the Inland Revenue Department, and I understand how taxes eat away my salary.
Foreign investors want experienced professionals and trained workers because they want to hire the local people here and don't want to spend too much money on training their staff.
OK, but you haven't mentioned anything about money and return.
You're right. Of course, at the end of the day, what investors are looking for is a good return of investment. That's why they want a place with a big potential market. I mean, there should be a lot of people who are willing to pay for the products, services or capital provided by the investors.
You have told me what foreign investors are looking for. Do you think Hong Kong have any advantages in this regard?
Sure, Hong Kong has a simple taxation system and low tax rates. You may take it for granted, but if you have done business in the US, you'll know a complicated taxation system can be a nightmare.
To be honest, I don't really know much about taxation systems elsewhere. I thought they were more or less the same around the world.
Sorry, but you were seriously wrong. Another advantage is that Hong Kong is geographically close to mainland China. I just told you that investors wanted a big potential market. China is a good example of such a market.
Then why don't investors just go to China?
In Hong Kong, corruption exists, but is not rampant, and money can go in and out freely.
Corruption is a problem in many countries, but I don't understand why it is so important that money can move freely.
Investors don't want their money trapped somewhere when they can find a better way to invest the money. What would you think if the ATM didn't allow you to withdraw your money?
Of course, I wouldn't feel good about that. And I want to know both sides of the situation. So what disadvantages does Hong Kong have?
I haven't finished telling you the advantages yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, please continue.
Many Hong Kong people don't notice that Hong Kong dollar has a very stable exchange rate, because it's pegged with the US dollar, and it is a big plus. Foreign investors calculate in US dollar most of the time. A stable exchange rate against the dollar means that they can easily calculate their expected profits. And finally, Hong Kong is a politically stable place. Political instability is simply the last thing foreign investors want. If you give investors a politically stable place, they will come in with their money.
OK, so tell me about the disadvantages.
Obviously, the biggest disadvantage here is the land price and rent. Both are very high. But this situation is more or less the same in any major metropolis like London and Tokyo.
I think the land price problem is something that we can't do anything about.
Another problem is that not everyone in Hong Kong can speak fluent English. We simply can't expect every foreign investor to learn our language. First, it's not easy, and they'd rather spend their time on something more profitable. Hong Kong is thus much less attractive than India in this regard.
We don't just have a good environment to learn English in Hong Kong. Most people speak Cantonese here.
Well, in fact, the language barrier is not that big a problem. What's more serious is the local market is actually very small, with a population of just around 7 million.
Do you really think that a population of 7 million is a small market?
Comparing 1.3 billion in China, yes, it's a very small market. And the final problem in Hong Kong is that most people work in finance and real estate related sectors. We don't really have research and development here.
So what should the government do?
The government shouldn't interfere with the market. Just let the supply and demand mechanism work on its own. And it should make it easy for investors to do their business. Finally, it should closely monitor the flow of international hot money.
Make it easy for investors to do their business? OK, but what is hot money?
It's the flow of capital between different markets for earning short-term profits.
Isn't it good that money flows in Hong Kong?
Well, of course, it's good that money flows in Hong Kong, but massive influx and sudden outflow of hot money can be disastrous.
Massive influx and sudden outflow of hot money can be disastrous. Could you elaborate?
Inflation happens when hot money comes in, because there is more money being circulated in the market. The most obvious evidence is that the price of real estate will shoot up. But usually hot money doesn't stay in a place for a long time. It may one day move out suddenly. And when it happens, depression follows because people don't have enough money to repay their debts. Many Asian countries suffered from this in the 90s, when hot money lost its interest in them.
Helena, my boss has told me that you're going to release your latest book. We may order some copies for our department. Please tell me what the book is about.
The title of the book is How Does the Market Work and Why Doesn't It Work? I think you'll know what the book is about by reading the title.
When can we get it in the bookstores?
I'm afraid you'll never see it in any bookstores. I mean the physical ones, because only e-book version is available this time. Well, it's not a popular genre, and thus not suitable for the general public.
Is it free of charge?
No, but the price is very reasonable. Just $5.99 for the first 100 downloads. Afterwards, it'll resume the normal price of $10.99.
OK, just tell me where to download it when it's ready.
Sure.
That's the end of the listening component of this test. You will be given 1 hour and 15 minutes to finish the tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. You will hear an announcement when time is up. Now, take off your earphones and then turn off your radio.